Hi friends, Allie here. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to crochet these man and woman gnome appliques. These patterns are part of a crochet advent calendar series I've been working on. If you're not familiar with the series, then check out my advent calendar playlist here on my YouTube channel, or head over to my website, theturtletrunk.com, where it has all of the info and all of the free crochet patterns to make your own advent calendar. But even if you're not making the advent calendar, you can still make these appliques and use them for whatever you'd like. You can sew them onto projects or add a hanging loop and use as decorations. Now if you're ready to get started, let's head over to our supply list and let's get making. For these patterns, you'll need medium 4-weight yarn. You'll need about 6 yards of taupe, 2 yards of both red and green, and 6 yards of white. Feel free to use any other colors you'd like though. You'll also need a 3.75mm or F crochet hook, and then for the girl's hair, you'll need a 5mm or H crochet hook. You also need scissors, a yarn needle, and 4 6mm safety eyes, and 12 inches of red embroidery thread. We're going to start by making the gnome man's head with white. We're going to begin by making a magic circle and chaining 1. Then inside of the circle, we're going to work 8 half double crochets. I'm then going to take the short tail end here and pull it tight to close up the hole in the middle. Then we're going to join to the top of the first half double crochet with a slip stitch, then chain 1. Now for round 2, we're going to work 2 half double crochets into each stitch around. At the end of round 2, our stitch count is now at 16. We're going to join to the top of the first half double crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. To start round 3, we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the first 2 stitches. Then in the next stitch, we are going to half double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and then half double crochet again into the same stitch that we worked the first half double crochet. So there we have the first little point of the beard. Now into the next stitch, we are going to work a double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and then double crochet into the same stitch we worked our last double crochet. So there is our second point of the beard. And then we're going to work 1 more just like the first one. So half double crochet into the next stitch, chain 2, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and then half double crochet back into the same stitch we worked the first half double crochet. So there we have 3 points to our beard. Now we're going to single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, then slip stitch into the next, and then we can cut off our yarn and weave in our ends on the back. And then we're going to set this aside for now, and we're going to move on to the gnome woman's face. Now onto the gnome woman's head, we're going to be using our taupe yarn. We're going to start by making a magic circle and chain 1. Then for round 1, we're going to work 8 half double crochets inside of the circle. I'm going to take the short tail end there and pull it tight to close up the hole in the middle. Then I'm going to join to the top of the first half double crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. For round 2, we're just going to work 2 half double crochets into each stitch around. At the end of round 2, our stitch count is at 16. We're going to join, and now we can cut off our yarn and weave in the ends on the back. And then we're going to move on to making the hats. We're going to make 2 hats, one for each of the gnomes. So choose whatever color you want to use for that, and then we're going to chain 5. Now working back down our foundation chain, we're going to half double crochet into the second chain from the hook, half double crochet into the next chain, single crochet into the next chain, and then all into the last chain, we're going to work 2 single crochets, chain 2, and then work another 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Now we're working down the other side of the foundation chain. We're going to single crochet into the next chain, then half double crochet into each of the last 2 chains. Then we're going to chain 1 and turn. And for row 2, we are going to work 1 half double crochet into each of the first 3 stitches. Then single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. Then into the chain 2 space at the top, we're going to single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Now working down the other side, we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. Then half double crochet into each of the last 3 stitches. Now we're going to be working across the bottom of the hat. So keeping your yarn attached, we're just going to turn the hat 90 degrees clockwise like so, and then working across the bottom, we're going to work 5 single crochets across. So starting in that same stitch that we worked our last half double crochet, we'll work our first single crochet there, and then we'll just work 4 more across. Then you can cut off your yarn, and I'm going to leave a long tail so that I can use it to sew the hat on to the gnome's head. So cut off your yarn, leaving a long tail, and then you can weave in the short tail end. Now we're on to the nose using our taupe yarn. We're going to make 2 of these, 1 for each of the gnomes. We're going to start by making a magic circle and chaining 1. Then we're going to work 1 half double crochet inside the circle, then 3 single crochets, then another half double crochet, and then 3 more single crochets. So you should have a total of 8 stitches. I'm going to take the short tail end there and pull that tight to close up that hole. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the first half double crochet. And then there we have our nose. So I'm going to cut off my yarn, leaving a long enough tail that I can use it to sew it onto the heads. and then you can weave in the short tail end there. Now I'm going to move on to assembling the gnome man. So he needs his beard, hat, and a nose. We're going to sew the hat on first, sewing it just above the halfway point of his head. And then the nose will go over top of that, overlapping the head, and it should be about right in the middle of the head where we worked our magic circle. So I'm going to sew it something like this. So here is my gnome man all sewn up. Now we'll move on to the woman. So for her, I have her hat and nose and head done, but now we're going to make her hair before we sew anything together. So I'm going to grab my white yarn and my 5mm crochet hook. I'm going to cut a 24-inch long strand of yarn, and I'm going to treat this as one piece of yarn. So I'm going to make a slip knot on the end, and then chain 6. You can chain more or less if you want her hair to be longer or shorter. Then I'm just going to pull my hook out and pull it through. Then I'm going to make a second one. And then once you have 2, we can assemble our gnome woman. So we're going to add the hair first. We're going to add them to the top about 4 stitches apart so that they're on the side of her head like so. So we're going to sew those to the top there, and then we're going to put the hat on top and then sew that on top just above the halfway point, and then the nose is going to go on top of the hat, overlapping it and right in the middle. So here's what she's looking like once we have her all sewn together. I'm going to just trim the bottoms of her hair. Now I'm going to embroider on a little smile, so I'm going to grab my red embroidery thread. So with my yarn needle, I'm going to go through the back to the front, just going under her nose, and over to the middle about 1 stitch over. Then I'm going to go through the back to the front again, 1 more stitch over. And then back through the center. Just like so. Then we can tie that off on the back. If you wanted to add a smile to the man, you could as well. I'm going to tie this off, and then we're all done our gnome appliques. So here is our man and woman gnome appliques. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed these tutorials. Be sure to check out my website or the playlist here on my YouTube channel for the rest of the Advent calendar tutorials. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.